welcome to the Oxygen Addict Triathlon Podcast. We're brought to you every week by our sponsors, PrecisionHydration.com. You can personalize your hydration strategy today with electrolytes in different strengths that match how you sweat. You can get 15% off your first order with the code OxygenAddict15. And we're also brought to you by WeAreTribe.co, natural sports nutrition. You can try a pack of 6 delicious, 100% natural, vegan, energy and recovery products from Tribe for only £2, including delivery, with the code OxygenAddict20. All right, everybody. Hello there. Welcome to the show. I've got a cracker for you today. I've got a really great interview with Ruth Purbrook. She is the world age group Ironman champion at Kona this year. We've had her on the show a couple of times in the past and followed her progress from virtual complete beginner all the way through to age group podium. And then this time she gets to tell the story of actually going and getting the overall age group win, not just her age group, but the overall age group win. And after that, she turns pro and she started racing pro now as well. So we get to find the differences that are happening for her. Now, a lot of you will be, I think, quite familiar with her story. If you're a long-time listener, you'll have heard her on the show, obviously. But she was also featured in the national press recently. And the tone of the article was very much one of, like, Superwoman doesn't need much sleep and, you know, gets by on 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night. So we dig into that a little bit deeper based on the things that we learned earlier in the year on the podcast about the importance of sleep and recovery. And lo and behold, Ruth's real story is very different to the one that gets told in the press. She's really noticed the difference in her training with the extra sleep that she's been getting. And again, if we go back to last week's episode with Will Clarke, who's her coach, he was talking about the big difference that that's made to her training as well. So I wanted to listen to that episode with that in mind and the idea that perhaps the greatest performance enhancing product that any of us can get is free. And yet, for some reason, we don't take advantage of it. Well, I certainly don't take advantage of it. I can't make judgments for you. But I know that I'm in a habit too much at the moment of staying up late, being in front of screens, not doing all that simple stuff that I know I need to do in order to get more sleep and get better quality sleep. So, yeah, listen into that for later on. All right, first up, we're going to kick off with some results. We've had the first racing of the year with Ironman 70.3 South Africa. Looks like really super tough conditions down there. It was very, very windy on the day. On the ladies' side, Flora Duffy kind of steamed out into the lead. She was way in front out of the swim. She built a 9-minute lead out on the bike. And then I'd assumed watching the coverage she'd had some kind of puncture because all of a sudden she lost that time and had been overtaken. Apparently one of her glutes locked up. And she kind of struggled to finish of the bike and then thought she'd give it a go on the run and ended up running really well and running down Emma Pallant. So, yeah, Emma Pallant's usually, or is always, one of the very best runners in the 70.3 scene. Flora Duffy, obviously, in her first 70.3 race there, showing that she is, she's living up to the potential we all knew that she had. So, first place for Flora Duffy there in 4:34. Britain's Emma Pallant in second in 4:36, and Jade Nicole in third in 4:41. Over on the men's side, we had a debut from Anu Skuman. That was the interesting one for me. His first 70.3, obviously Commonwealth Games gold medalist and Olympic medalist, making his debut there. He smoked everybody on the swim. I think he had a 2-minute lead. He biked really quite hard by the look of things at the start, and then the boys rode him down, and he gamely hung on there for a third place finish. Matt Troutman looked just fantastic. He had a really fast run to basically just run away from everybody. He got into T2 with a small lead. So Matt Troutman takes the win in 4:02. Bradley Weiss in second in 4:05, and then Henry Skuman in third in 4:07. So nice to see a little bit of racing going on there. It'd be interesting to see what Henry Skuman does later on this year, whether he sees his long-term potential of 70.3 or, you know, whether he's really going to go all in for the Olympics again. Yeah, be a good one to watch. So shout out to our sponsors here, Tribe. This week we're going to focus on their Infinity Energy Bars. Now, if you've not tried any Tribe products before, their stuff's really good. You can pretty much get a risk-free, no-brainer trial. It's £2 and you can select the stuff that you want in your own box. It gets posted out to you, including postage in that £2. You can choose protein bars, you can choose energy bars, you can choose recovery shakes. They've got all manner of stuff you can choose from, and it's posted neatly through the door within a couple of days. And for £2, it's an absolute no-brainer. The stuff tastes really good. This week, I said we're focusing on the Infinity Energy Bars. I was trying one of their chocolate salt caramel bars from my trial pack this week, and I've got to say it was a very delicious energy bar indeed. Focus of these is dairy-free, vegan, gluten-free. The nutrient-rich energy nutrition, there's 60% less sugar than their competitors, slow release energy, and there's also 7 grams of protein in their Infinity Energy bars as well. So really good stuff made with all natural ingredients. If you haven't tried them, why not? It's an absolute no-brainer. For £2, get yourself 6 bars, fit perfectly in the back of the pocket for riding, and get out and give them a go. So you need the code OxygenAddict20 at checkout to get 6 bars for £2 over at wearetribe.co. All right, on to Coach's Couch this week. And this week I'm going to be talking to you about the benefits of a multi-sport approach to marathon training. And this has been brought about because several of the people who've joined Team Oxygen Addict for coaching on our £1 trial offer over the last month, lots of those people are doing a spring marathon. They're either doing London or one of the other similar spring marathons. And a common theme has been like, look, I'm really keen to come in and try your training plan, but I've already got a running plan that I'm following for the marathon. So what I want to do is cherry pick the best sessions for biking and swimming, add them on top of the running plan that I'm already doing, and kind of get out and I'll get the best of both worlds. And you can kind of see where people's logic comes from. It's quite common these days in those downloadable free marathon plans that they've got an interval run, a tempo run, a long run, and then 2 or 3 days where it says cross training, go for a bike ride or go for a swim. And the danger of taking the approach of certainly coming into my program and picking 2 or 3 of our bike rides is we do all of our hard work on the bike within Team Oxygen Addict. And that's even if someone's training for a marathon. So my advice to these people who've joined us is not come in and do our 2 hard bike sessions as well as your interval session on the run and as well as your tempo session on the run. Those 2 hard bike sessions are going to take the place of those hard interval sessions on the run, because if you do them on the bike, there is almost no risk of injury whatsoever. And if you're doing hard running, especially if you're a marathon running build phase, and if you're like you've got a lot of volume on you, you're under stress and your body's under stress already, running hard and running fast and doing extended tempo runs is one of the most common ways to pick up a niggle or pick up a run injury. And you're going to become the best athlete you can be this year, especially if you're using your marathon as a springboard to do 70.3 or Ironman later in the year. You're going to be the best athlete you can be by firstly not getting injured. And if you think about that line, when people become doctors, the first thing they get told is the first thing you do no harm. The same is exactly true when you're getting coached for athletics or when you're getting coached for triathlon. The first principle is don't injure yourself, do no harm to yourself. So I'd rather you back off the pace or back off the intensity and be able to train again the next day, because that day in, day out consistency is what's going to get you fit across a long term, not smashing yourself to pieces in one day, being convinced that turning yourself inside out in every session is the way to go. Sure, there's a place for that, and you are absolutely going to get some very hard work indeed if you come into my training plans. Do not mistake what I'm saying here for it's all easy and the magic fairies are going to make you fast, but you need to approach it in a sensible way. Even Mo Farah is only doing 2 intense sessions a week in his training, right? The rest of it is all easy or steady running. So you can't try and mix the hard running from a marathon plan and the hard biking from a triathlon plan and expect anything other than exhaustion in the short to medium term. Okay, so what we're going to have you do is we're going to have you come in and do 2 moderate length, sort of 30, 45 minute, an hour long steady runs. We're going to have you do 1 progressively longer marathon run that's going to build up to about 3 hours, maybe a little bit longer for the athletes who can handle that. And your bike sessions are going to be where we train you with, typically if you're doing marathon training, we'll be doing either FTP work or 90% of FTP work. That's when your heart, lungs and blood are going to get that really hard workout that's going to practice driving oxygen into your muscles. It's going to increase your ability of your muscles to accept and absorb that oxygen, and that's directly transferable fitness that goes over into your running. So you are going to become a fitter multi-sport athlete, and as a byproduct of that, you are going to become a fitter and faster runner. You don't have to run faster in training if you've got a structured multi-sport approach. in order to get faster at running, because that cardiovascular fitness is going to get improved just as effectively on the bike with a much reduced energy risk. Okay. Now then, I've got a quote here from one of the guys in our team. His name's Dave Darden. He's over 60. He's been training with us for a few years. And he says, over the past few weeks, I've completely changed the way I look at our Tuesday and Thursday FTP sessions. I used to look at training peaks ahead of time and know what was coming and try and mentally prepare for them. And now I don't even look, and I don't actually know the details until the morning of the session. I keep mindful of how these sessions are improving my bike and also my run and swim, and they really have. I also tell myself it's only less than an hour of hard effort and I can do that anytime, no problem. I can't tell you how much longer and faster I can run and swim for actually less perceived effort than ever before, and I know it's the bike sessions that are doing it. So now I actually look forward and I'm eager to the hard sessions, as they've helped me more than I can begin to explain. I just felt I wanted to share this with you. Maybe it can benefit someone. So that's something he's posted apropos of nothing in our Facebook group to say to the sort of the new people who are coming in, look, I know it takes a bit of suspension of disbelief. I know there's lots of other people out there saying, you know, you need to smash yourself all the time in training and you really, really need to turn yourself inside out all of the time. There's an example of someone's been with us for 3 or 4 years now and knows that long-term consistency is ultimately what's going to bring you success. And also, like in the bigger picture, in the bigger scheme of things, I go back to when I was a kid being coached. I had a coach called Alan. And his overall aim, he would say every week, is, I want you boys to still be racing when you're in your 50s and 60s like I am. And he would have us do shorter sessions and he would have us do modified sessions than other kids of our age when we were 13, 14, 15. And at the time, I really wanted more. I really wanted to go and win the county cross-country championships. And although I got in the county team, I never won it. And I used to kind of think, oh, if I was just doing the kind of training that those boys that are winning are doing, then I'd be able to win. Because as a teenager, that's all I cared about. What I didn't see at the time, and what I now appreciate, is his philosophy and the fact he held me back when I was young. That's allowed me to have a lifelong use of my body. I haven't got any long-term injuries. I can get out and run and bike and swim whenever I want to. I can ramp up the training if I want to get fit, and I can just bimble along when I don't do. But I've got a lifelong love of exercise every day, and I would rather have more of you in the sport for a longer period of time and loving it, and some of the year be super fit and some of the year be not so fit, but still be loving it, than to absolutely wreck yourself trying to do really hard run intervals, pull a calf or pull a hamstring, and end up having weeks and months of visiting the physio trying to get it fixed. Okay, so if you guys want to come in and give this a try, if you want to try a month's worth of coaching with me and Team Oxygenetics, we've got this offer on at the moment. You pay £1 for your first month. I'll set you up like a full member, so your training plan will be tailored to you, it'll be tailored to your background, and it'll be tailored to your goal events for this year. So it's not just like a generic cut and paste, everyone gets the same first month. It's going to be varied depending on what you've got going on. You've got full access to me in the Facebook group. You've got full access to me in our video calls every month. And you get to actually experience what a month worth of coaching is with us, rather than just getting given a cut and paste training plan. Okay, and that's the big difference that we can bring here, is that the coaching advice that goes on in our Facebook group of, you say to me, look, I've got this going on this week, how do I adapt to my plan? And we work it out using my coaching knowledge to suit your life. So it's very different from just buying a training plan off the peg. And I really believe we've come up with a really brilliant solution for 99% of athletes in the world here who are doing certainly middle and long distance triathlon, but also sprint and Olympic, but also, you know, marathon runners and ultra distance runners we've got with us now as well. So if you're wondering what it's like to not be wondering about your training plan, just have someone else give it to you, come in and give it a go. Click the link in the show notes and you get your first month for £1. Okay, so right now we go over to our interview of the week with Ruth Purbrook. Ruth Purbrook, welcome back onto the Oxygen Addict Triathlon podcast. It's lovely to have you back on. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm really well, thanks. It's nice to be back on the original podcast that I was on. So,
and a lot has happened in your life since then, since the very early days, and some things don't change and some things do. But like, first up, congratulations on the, let's get this right, the World Age Group Ironman Hawaii Championship win. How good does that sound?
Maybe a bit long-winded, but it's pretty nice to be able to say that, having worked towards it for a couple of years, so it feels pretty good.
I bet it does, yeah. Well, listen, I want to hear all about all of the last year. I was looking back, I think it was sort of summertime 2018 was the last time we had you on the show, so there's like another 18 months worth of the story to go. But one of the things I think is fascinating with you, and I'm sure people have heard your story because you've been in like the Telegraph and stuff recently, so you're probably one of the most well-known athletes around at the moment, which is pretty cool in itself, isn't it, really, to be in the Telegraph?
Yeah, very cool. That actually came through being on the Zwift Academy, so yeah, that was a bit of a pinch myself moment to see myself in print.
So listen, let's go all the way back then. How did you end up in triathlon in the first place? And then we want to kind of hear your story of your progression across the years before we get into the meat of this year, really. How did you first get involved in triathlon in the first place?
It was actually through work. So I played hockey through university, kind of really enjoyed having something competitive to focus on. And then when I moved to London for work, kind of didn't really want to keep playing hockey. I'd got to a point of, I was never really that skillful. So I played a higher level than I should have done at university just because I could run around the pitch quite a lot.
That was my exact strategy to football growing up as well.
Yeah, it worked quite well. So, so I didn't want to have to make the effort to travel quite far out of London to go to a club where I probably wasn't going to be in the top team, and it just seemed like too much hassle. So I was kind of looking at other things that I could do to keep fit and maybe do something competitive. And I was training for the Berlin Marathon, and someone at work basically said, "Oh, we've got a couple of slots to go and do the London Triathlon at the docks. Would you be interested to kind of go and do it for charity?" And had just started doing maybe like a little bit of cycling. So I've got cousins that are really keen cyclists. And obviously I was running, so I was training for the marathon. And I did like a minimal amount of swimming back when I was younger. So I was like, okay, I could give triathlon a go, see what happens. So went and turned up, did this triathlon. I just really enjoyed it and kind of did all right. So I was like, well, this is something that maybe I could do more of. Maybe it'll be a good way of keeping fit and having something to focus on. So sort of signed up to my local tri club, which is Full On Tri. Got really involved, like had all the London League races that we got involved in and just got hooked from there, really.
And what year was this?
That would have been the back end of 2013, I think, because it was 2014 that I started actually doing some races, I think.
So 5 years from first ever triathlon to world age group Ironman champion.
Yeah. That's
a pretty nice progression, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. So I think it goes to show that, you know, like, and this is the thing that I was trying to say to some people at the club. It's like, I really think anyone can kind of do it if you're able to put the work in. I mean, obviously some people, they can't do that because of commitments, but like, I think it is quite easy with triathlon to get quite far just through hard work.
It's an interesting parallel with the hockey thing, because like I said, I relate to this with football. I was really good at running around and technically next to useless. And then it turns out there's a sport called athletics that's entirely based on how much you enjoy running around. And you kind of go, oh, that's great. And what's that line I read somewhere? It's like athletics and triathlon. They're a blue collar sport in that you get rewarded for just putting the work in, and that you can get better and better and better. And skill-based sports like hockey and football, there's always going to be people who are just naturally gifted or talented. But these sports really reward you for turning up and putting the work in day after day, week after week, don't they?
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
It sounds like that's something that really appeals to something in your mind, like the work ethic side of it. If I work hard at this and consistently, I'll just get better.
Yeah, and I think like part of it is because I guess I've seen that come through. So I've kind of seen when I put hard work in, you know, like I do get better, I make progress. And yeah, like that's definitely rewarding. I think anyone who likes a bit of a challenge, or just, you know, someone who generally likes working hard, like it's nice to see that kind of being rewarded, as opposed to, you know, with hockey when I would keep trying to become more skillful and just failed miserably.
Oh, bless you. All right, so let's fast forward to this year then, because obviously you got what people would consider very good very quickly. And I think last time we spoke, were you third in Kona in 2017, third in age group overall?
Yeah. So that was my first Kona and my second Ironman after a pretty disastrous Lanzarote. So I kind of just wanted to go and do an Ironman without having to visit the Portaloo. So
that's right. I remember you saying you were really bad. It was you were sick in the swim and you had an upset tummy at Lanza and
awful.
Yeah. And then so obviously Hawaii went really well. You found out you've got a natural something in you that obviously goes really well in the heat and humidity when other people don't. So was that when that dream of, do you know what, I might be able to win the overall age group title here, is that when that was really born?
Yeah, definitely. I think so I was 10th age group overall that first year. And I think knowing that Ironman, it's definitely something that, as we were kind of saying, more than the other distances, like you get rewarded for just putting the work in, and also just having more experience. I think, the more that you know about how long an Ironman is, like the points when you're going to suffer, and then just the things with Kona, the fact that actually that course, again, it benefits from having experience, knowing what it's like, knowing that you're probably going to feel pretty rubbish for quite a lot of it. When I went back in 2018, I went back with the aim of winning overall age grouper. Because again, it's, I think, you've got to have ambitious goals. There's no point just settling for kind of average goals, I don't think. Like I get more of a buzz out of having tougher goals to help push me on. I was third overall in 2018 and kind of was put back in my place a little bit by the fact I was beaten by the lady that won the overall age group was like 44 years old, had 4 kids, and was just like, I was talking to her afterwards. I was like, right, I don't feel like I've got any excuses whatsoever.
And one of the things that I think is interesting about you is it's often, we come across people who do really well in this sport and, they say they work full time, but actually when you look into it, they might have their own business or they've got a significant amount of flexibility in the schedule. You really do have a full-time job that has you in the office 50 to 70 hours a week working in the city, don't you? So I'm fascinated by how you go about structuring your week to fit all of that in around such long work hours.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the challenges. I've actually gone down to 1 day a week now, so I'm feeling very relaxed. But the last sort of 2 to 3 years has been pretty full on with the roles that I've been doing. I think, for me, one of the key things has been having a coach who is able to give that flexibility. So obviously you have Will on the show a couple of weeks ago, and he, for me, and I've said this to a lot of people, just having a coach, I think, makes a big difference when you're busy, because it just means you don't have to think about it. My training comes in, I just have to have a look and sort of see, what am I doing today? And I've just got to do it. But at the same time, if something comes up at work or I've just had one of those days, rather than me having to think about it and try and sort it all out, I just drop him a message and he changes stuff around. So I think he
does the thinking for you, and
he does the thinking for me, which is nice. I think when you're using your brain so much during the day, not having to use it for training is definitely a good thing. And I think I'm also lucky in that I'm a morning person, so getting up early in the morning, I quite like that. I'd much rather get my tough session over and done with, and then if stuff does get in the way, it's not the end of the world if it's a bit of an easier session that I'm missing in the evening.
So when you say you're a morning person, I'm going to interrupt you for a second. Sorry, because I was just reading about your morning routine. Tell everybody what time you get up at and what time you start training.
So a lot of last year I was getting up at 4:30 to be on Zwift at 4:45.
4:30.
Yeah, lovely.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, and I was trying to be in bed and trying to be getting to sleep by 10. So I was getting sort of 6 to 6.5-ish hours a night, which definitely isn't enough. It was kind of sustainable-ish for that kind of time period. So for sort of 1.5 to 2 years. But I think now that now that I've gone down to 1 day a week, and I've been doing that for the past 3 weeks now, and I've been getting like 8-9 hours sleep a night. I feel like a new person.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's one of the things I wanted to ask you is, obviously, sometimes you can't tell what you're in when you're in it. It's only afterwards you look back and go, I feel completely different now. Have you noticed a big difference since you've getting more sleep?
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of it is actually the thing that I would find on the not very much sleep and getting up so early, and then having the really intense days in the office, is that, by the time I got to Thursday and Friday, I was basically in zombie mode. And I could definitely tell, like, my sessions towards the end of the week, and even at the weekend, would kind of suffer for it. And I'd kind of then be all right again by Monday, because I would have caught up a little bit over the weekend on sleep. But yeah, whereas I've now found most days I can go and I can hit sessions pretty well, and like I get to the end of the week and I still feel pretty good, because I've not had all that kind of intensity and pressure and lack of sleep through the week. And I'm hoping as well, because I had like a couple of had like a stress reaction sort of around April last year, which I think was mainly due to that kind of lack of sleep, lack of recovery, and general work stress, because there wasn't really anything else that changed. So again, I'm kind of hoping that from that kind of injury perspective, that the sleep will help there as well.
I read a little bit about this. What was the stress reaction that you had then, and did that impact your training a lot? Yeah,
so it was in my calf, not my calf, like in my shin bone.
Okay.
I'm not going to have it in my calf. That's a muscle. That wouldn't make sense. And it was one of these things where I'd had like a little bit of a niggle, like I could kind of feel something in my shin, but didn't really think much of it, because it just felt like, didn't really feel serious. And like when I started running, it would ease off and be fine. And then I was doing a treadmill session, and it just, like, something kind of went a bit, that suddenly I felt like my leg was almost going to like collapse. I was like, right, I need to stop for a bit. And I was out in Sardinia, and I was meant to be racing a kind of local half Ironman out there. So I was like, right, I'm going to rest it for the week and see if that helps. And then tried like a little run, and I could still feel it. So I was like, no, I think I've done something. So came back and had the MRI, and they're like, yeah, you've got a bit of a stress reaction. Fortunately, it wasn't too bad, but I was then off running for 6 weeks in the lead up to Roth. So, that was really annoying, because Roth is where I was trying to go sub 9. And I think if I hadn't had that, I don't know, like, would I've done it? I would have been a lot closer, hopefully, because like the run is where I really struggled. But yeah, I mean, obviously you never know what might happen, but yeah, so it was annoying to miss out on that block of running before Roth. But
so it's the great juggling factor, isn't it? That in order to get the training and that you need to do to get as fit as you want to get, you have to cut out sleep. But by cutting out sleep, your body then goes, hang on, something's missing here, and I can't regenerate almost.
Yeah.
It's that real delicate balancing act, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I'm really excited to see what you can do now. You can get a proper night's sleep. I think that'll be, it's like the biggest performance enhancing drug you can get, isn't it? Getting those extra 2 hours in.
Yeah.
So you ended up, you had a good race at Roth, although not by what you hoped for. Was your accident just after Roth?
Yeah, it was literally the first proper ride that I was doing post so I had like 2 weeks of kind of chill time post Roth, and it was a really nice weekend, and Will had been like, oh, maybe go out and do a couple of hours, but just, nothing serious. And the 2 friends that I was riding with wanted to do something a bit longer, and I was like, well, it's such a nice day, I feel quite good, I'm quite keen to be out for longer, so decided to do the longer route with them. And then it was as we were heading in for our cafe stops, I didn't even get my coffee.
Oh, heartbreak.
That we then got knocked off. So
so what happened there then? Did someone turn across you?
Yes, we were heading, there's like a really nice long straight road going into Windsor, and we were going down that, and a car coming towards us just turned right in front of us. So my friend James, who was at the front, kind of went straight into the car, the guy behind him, John, managed to just kind of avoid it, but as I was trying to take the line to avoid it, James had basically like flipped back over the car, so I sort of went into James.
Oh no.
So yeah, it was and it's one of those things where it all happened very quickly. It's 1 minute you're going pretty fast, the next minute you're on the floor wondering what's happened. So yeah, it was a bit of a shock to the system.
And what was the upshot from that then to your body?
So actually, as soon as I sat up, I was like, I've broken my collarbone. Like, I knew straight away. I was like, I can feel it. That's gone. It was awful. And then I looked down and I could just see this like pool of blood. And I was like, oh, where's that coming from? And it's all coming from my face. And I was like, oh dear. So I had a big laceration to my face as well that needed stitching up. So yes, but all things considered, I actually, I didn't come off too badly. Whereas, James had a couple of cracked vertebrae, broken ribs, also broken collarbone and shoulder, and like a massive cut to his knee. So I couldn't really feel too sorry for myself because he came off much worse. And he'd also he was the guy that was staying with me in Kona the year before that got knocked off by a bus like the week before Kona, so couldn't race because he broke his shoulder then. So I actually felt like I'd come off very luckily in comparison.
You sound like you're a remarkably resilient person. Things like this, I would find incredibly traumatic and would relive time and time again. And it sounds like you do you feel that? Does it affect you on an ongoing basis, or have you just sounds like you rationalize it and you just move on?
Yeah, I've tried pretty hard to rationalize it. I still have moments I'm way more cautious. I was always quite cautious anyway, but now if I'm out cycling, I'm way, I'll brake way sooner if I see a car potentially thinking about turning.
Yeah.
And in the first ride that I did back outside, I went down to the Isle of Wight with a load of people from the club because we were like, the roads will be a bit nicer there, cars will probably be a bit nicer. And that was a nice way to kind of get back to it on different roads that weren't familiar. Like when I go back down that road, I've been back down it a couple of times now. When I go past that spot, I'm a bit like, oh. But again, it's like, you see other accidents like Claire Danson's. And again, it's like, I just feel very lucky. I've seen so many horrendous accidents recently that, yes, okay, I got knocked off, but I'm still standing. I don't really have any lasting damage. So yeah, I've tried hard to rationalize it.
Yeah, it sounds like you've done a very good job of it. It sounds like you just kind of cracked on, and obviously you got yourself to Kona in amazing shape. Given now, when would this have happened? Would this have been mid-July?
Yeah, I think it's like the 23rd, 24th of July. I think it was like 12 or 13 weeks to Kona. I was
going to say, so broken collarbone 12 weeks out. Did you realistically think at that point you were still going to get to go?
No. And actually, I was also down to do 70.3 World Champs in Nice. And that was
start of September, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So that I was like, right, well, that's a write-off. But I was like, I'm still going to go out to get loads of people from the club racing. So I was like, I don't want to miss out on a fun weekend. And yeah, in Kona, I was a bit like, obviously, when Lucy Gossage did hers and she came back in 7 weeks or something insane. So I was like, I'm pretty sure I can be out there, but I kind of wrote off being able to win. Especially because it's like, swimming is my weakest of the disciplines, and having to then take more time off swimming is definitely not ideal. So because I had to wait 10 days to have my operation because they needed the road rush to die down. So that pushed everything back like a week and a half. And then I had to wait 4 weeks post-op to raise my shoulder above 90 degrees. So yeah, it was a good sort of pretty much 6 week chunk of no swimming.
Okay.
Which was frustrating.
And then I'm just trying to take this in now because I've just realized I've done a bit of research before this. So it was 6 weeks before you could swim at all, which is almost exactly when the 70.3 World Champs is, when you're just going out with your mates just for fun.
Yeah.
Tell us what happened.
So I did a couple of swims the week leading up to 70.3 because that was when I was in Latwell. it was when the surgeon had kind of said, I don't necessarily want you to do it, but fine, just make sure you're within pain. So like I did a couple of swims and I was like, actually, it's not painful. So I was like, okay, I can swim. And when we got out to Nice, I went into the ocean with a couple of friends, because then I was like, probably it might feel a bit different in the ocean to in the pool. And again, like it kind of felt all right. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to race, because, and again, partly it was like James was out there because his girlfriend was racing. And I was like, he actually can't race. So the fact that I can actually go and stand on that start line, like, I feel like I've got to at least try. And I was also like, it might be quite nice doing a race where I've not got any pressure, because I mean, I've literally been swimming for like 3 days, and so I was like, let's just go and have fun and enjoy it, and enjoy the fact that so many of my friends are out here. So yeah, I was pretty nervous before the swim, because I was mainly like, I could get jostled around a bit and I might get knocked and that might hurt. And yeah, the swim was quite tough, and I was probably about 5 minutes slower than I'd like to be. But then I got onto the bike and I was like, I actually feel quite good on the bike. And I was quite nervous about the descent. It's obviously quite a technical course, and when you're not feeling super confident on the bike, probably not the best course for it. But it's probably the most fun I've had on the bike in a 7.3. Like, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the descent. I think having disc brakes made a big difference. But yeah, like came off the bike in a pretty good position, and then ran a run PB and finished. Actually, so when I came across the line, I was still in the top 10 overall of the age groupers. I was like, oh, that's pretty good. And I ended up being 7th in my age group, but 11th overall. So clearly got a very competitive age group. But I think I was only like 10 minutes off the overall winner and like 5 minutes off the winner of my age group. So I actually was like, well, that gave me a massive confidence boost in the run up to Kona, because I was like, well, if I can do that off the lack of training that I've really been doing, then actually I could be in reasonable shape by the time Kona comes around.
And I saw a lot of pictures of you kind of training, you're on the turbo with your arm in a sling even before it healed properly. Did you feel as though, did you get a lot of work done in that period, or was it just a case of I've just got to keep myself moving?
Yeah, I actually took advantage of doing all the Zwift Academy workouts, because they had the Cycle Academy going at that time. So yeah, it was mainly let's just keep moving and be able to do something. So I think, as anyone who is quite active knows, as soon as you're not allowed to be active, it's like you just generally feel rubbish, and you want to be able to do something. So I was like, well, the turbo I know I can do, and it's safe, and I'm not going to fall off and do any more damage. But yeah, I signed up for a lot of their workouts, which are actually like, they're pretty hardcore. So I think like the first one I ended up doing was like some like VO2 max intervals or something. And I hadn't
nice ease back into it.
Yeah, nice, easy. And I hadn't really thought about the fact that obviously it's all done off your FTP, and I should have adjusted it, and I didn't. So like literally that first workout back was horrendous. But yeah, I managed to get some quite good bike stuff in, and I was also quite lucky in that I was then able to run. Well, I was kind of like able to sort of slowly jog maybe like 9 days post-op. So I've actually got a fair amount of like slow running miles in. So yeah, I felt like I'd sort of been able to get moving. I didn't really feel like I'd done any kind of serious training, but I felt like I'd moved enough to sort of keep fit.
Okay. And then post the Worlds then, you probably had another 6 or so weeks to go to Kona. Were you still at that point, were you even thinking you'd get to race in Hawaii, or what was going on through your head?
Yeah, so post Worlds I was like, right, well, I know that I can definitely race. Whether or not it's going to be my best race, who knows? I think I had 5 weeks post 7.3 Worlds, I think it was. And yeah, so again, it was just, let's definitely try and get some more swimming in and just put in as much work as possible before that. But I was saying it to a couple of people afterwards, I think in terms of timing of when the crash was, it was probably like the best timing it could have been, because it almost just extended my break post-Roth, which I think then meant I was actually really fresh for Kona. And I think it's that typical thing. I think you see it with a lot of the pros, that a lot of them just go in overcooked. Like you get that whole fear and like, I've got to do more and more and more. And then they've just got nothing on race day because they've overdone it. Whereas I kind of definitely wasn't overcooked. And I think, again, I didn't really feel like I had too much pressure on me. And I was just really, really sort of hungry to sort of prove that prove what I could do, even though I kind of knew that I had a good excuse if it didn't come off. So yeah, I guess I sort of went in with I definitely didn't feel confident. But I guess I was like, actually, if everything goes really well, it might be an okay race. And we did the swim race the week before. And that actually went quite well. I think I did like a similar time to the year before. So I was like, okay, well, I've not really lost that much swim wise. So because that was the main thing that I was worried about. So I guess I felt all right going into Kona. But again, I was like, it's such a long day. It's such ridiculous conditions. And you never really know who else is turning up. And especially like this year, because I only did Roth. I didn't do any Ironman branded Ironmans. So you don't, I hadn't really seen any of my other competition. So yeah, I kind of went in with let's just do what I can do and see what happens.
All right, let's tell us about race day then. How did all that play out? And then we'll talk about some more of the training leading up to it.
Yeah, so race day, so obviously the whole week running up to it had actually been quite busy. So because I was on the Zwift Academy, they put us up in this ridiculous house. But it, also meant there was quite a lot that we had to do with some of the other athletes. But actually having those other athletes there, so there were 4 girls, we kind of had that slight, competitiveness of who can do what. There's like one girl who was a ridiculous swimmer. And she was also one of the ones that, they were all kind of like, she could do really, really well and kind of threaten a lot of the pros. So I was basically like, I know that if I can get anywhere near her on the bike, I'm probably in a good position.
Yeah.
So we were all together heading out to the swim. So that was all quite nice. So kind of, you get to the front of the swim and everyone's trying to line up in between the boys. And it's just a complete fight. Like you're almost getting dunked at that initial bit because people are sort of trying to surge forward a little bit and people are trying to push their way through, and then all the kayaks are trying to keep you back, and it's all a bit of a nightmare. But yeah, the gun went, and I thought the swim this year was going to be much worse than last year with the new wave start. Because like last year we caught the men probably within like 10-15 minutes, and then it was just like constant having to like dodge through these like big groups of men.
Yeah.
But actually, because they had spaced out the waves of men, it actually meant it was way easier to get through them because they were much more spread out. So actually it worked quite well. I managed to find some really good feet that I just stuck to. I think I managed to keep on for maybe like just over 3K and then lost them a bit on that last bit coming in. But like generally felt quite good in the swim, like managed to not get too dunked, not sort of expend too much energy. And when I came out, I didn't actually know what I'd done swim wise. So I was just like, I can see that there's still quite a lot of bikes around. So that's kind of positive. And then obviously out onto the bike, and I was like, right, this is it now. I just got to get my head down, work hard, get a nutrition in. Yeah, game on. This is where the fun starts. And as we came out and did the little lap, sort of through the town bit, the guys from Zwift were giving some splits as to where everyone else was. So I knew that the girl that was the really good swimmer was, I think she was about 3 or 4 minutes up the road from me. And I actually saw her coming back. So I was like, right, I can see where she is. If I can catch up to her, I'm pretty sure she's near the front of the race. So then I'll have some kind of gauge as to where I am.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just have one of those days where like I felt really good on the bike. I seemed, I don't think I got overtaken by anyone. I think there was maybe like one guy on the way back, but I generally was like, right, my gauge is not getting passed by anyone, and let's just see what happens. And I managed to catch Maggie, the Zwift girl, around 55k. So I was like, okay, that's much sooner than I thought I was going to catch her. So let's just keep going. And actually, like coming down from Harvey, because like, it hadn't been too windy on the way out, and I was like, I really, really want it to be a bit windier than last year, because I think that's where like the stronger runners who are not necessarily as strong on the bike, it like massively played into their hands, because they didn't have to work as hard on the bike, so they could run a lot better. So yeah, like came down from Harvey and it was definitely got a bit windier, and like I had so much fun on that bit. I think because I can get quite low, I was just sort of overtaking people down there. And then like then coming back in towards town, I actually caught one of the guys from my club who was out racing, and like he's a decent athlete, and I was like, right, well, if you started 20 minutes in front of me and I've caught you here, then I think I'm having quite a good day.
Yeah.
But still at this point, I had no idea where I was. I was like, I feel like I must be somewhere near the front of the female race, but like you just never know. And then just in the bit coming back into town, the Zwift guys, one of them was like, oh, you've got a 1.5 minute lead. I was like, oh, okay, fine. 1.5 minutes, it's not loads, but let's just see what happens. So then heading out onto the run, I actually had a bit of a mess up in transition, because I sort of ran past my bag and then had to double back to go and get it.
Even Anne Haug did that, don't you worry.
Yeah, no, bit of a rookie error. But yeah, like headed out, I was like, oh, I feel quite good. And obviously always down a leaky drive, you're like, don't run too fast. I set off like way too fast, but I just felt really good. And I saw one of my friends about 2k down. First of all, she was like, oh, you've got a 10.5 minute lead. I was like, oh, okay. And then she was like, but you need to slow down. She was like, you are running way too quickly. I was like, yeah. So like tried to slow it down a bit, but still probably went off a bit fast on that whole first little loop. And then like heading out onto the Queen K again, like I knew at this point, I think as I came out onto the Queen K, I had like an 11-minute lead. So I was like, right, I just need to keep moving forward, keep going, keep getting water on, keep trying to cool down a bit. And yeah, like generally I just felt generally pretty good until about 33k, as you're like coming back down the Queen K, heading back towards town. And that was just, everything just started getting a bit sore by that point. Like it wasn't necessarily anything in particular. Like I had a bit of a knee niggle, but it wasn't anything that bad. And actually I just found, similar to the year before actually, I just found a guy to run with, someone who actually knew Will. So he sort of knew who I was. And we just kept each other going. Like I would go in front for a bit and he would come in front for a bit. He kept me going through the aid stations. There was a couple that I tried to walk a bit further and he was like, come on. So he really kept me going through like that last sort of 8-9k. And then coming back into town, I was actually like, right, I've just got to get through this last 2k and not cramp up. And then I think I've got it. But again, it's like you don't really want to count your chickens too early because anything can happen in that last 2k. So I was still a bit nervous at that point. And then coming down the final red carpet, it was like, oh my God, I'm actually going to win.
You've done it.
Yeah, it was a pretty good feeling.
Well, tell us a little bit more then about the Zwift Tri Academy, because I only know what I've seen on the YouTube videos and stuff and from having read about it in the press. But from an outsider's point of view, it looks just like your dream situation as an age grouper to go like, here's all the support, here's advice from Sarah True and Tim Don. You get to come and stay in this big house in Hawaii all together. How was the support leading up to it? What kit did you get? Tell us all the stuff. It looks ace.
Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable. And I think I've said it to a few people, like the support that we had was better than I think about 95% of what the pros get. Yeah. I think, only really the real top pros that are earning a lot of money probably had anywhere near the kind of support that we had. So yeah, when it all got announced, they flew us out to San Francisco and we spent time at the Specialized headquarters, got to go into the wind tunnel, got a whole load of kits. So actually, they gave us like an iPad so that we could do Zwift on the iPad. They gave us the little Stride power, running power things. We got a load of Wahoo stuff. And then Wahoo actually sent us like a kicker, a climb, their fan, and like the little desk. So we will have like a very, very nice setup now.
The best turbo shed in London.
Yeah, definitely. And then obviously we get the Specialized, like the bike, which that bike, I absolutely love it. I think A, disc brakes are amazing. And B, it's a really fast bike. Like it just feels stiff. It feels responsive.
Is it the new Shiv? Is it the new Shiv you were riding?
The new Shiv. Yeah. So that was epic. And then like a whole load of other Specialized kit, like shoes, helmet, etc. And like getting to hang out with Sarah and Tim, also amazing. I mean, they've got so much experience between them. So that was really good. But yeah, and I think like there's something about being in that kind of team mindset. I mean, obviously I'd kind of come from that, having been on free speed, which I guess is kind of similar, but just without the absolutely ridiculous amount of support. But yeah, it's like something about having people that anytime you raced, there was a whole WhatsApp group kind of tracking you and cheering you on. And like if anyone had a little question, there's a group of people to go out to and ask. So it did feel like a really nice supported bunch leading up to the race. And then obviously out in Kona, we had the house that they put us up in. We had a chef cooking for us. We had mechanics out there.
Oh, wow.
And it was just, literally it was like we didn't have to do anything other than like wake up, do whatever training we needed to do and like relax. So as far as everything else that could be done to make it as good as possible, like they took care of everything. So like really unbelievable experience. I think obviously too late this year if you've not applied, but when they reopen it for next year, any kind of age grouper who would like to go to Kona, you should definitely apply.
And it looked like it was a good, like having people around you of the same sort of dedication and ambition. And it's like such a big part of it, isn't it? That in everyday life, most of us, we're in an office with people who don't know what triathlon is, let alone the level of commitment it takes to do what we need to do every day. It must be great to be surrounded by those people who are doing the same thing that you're doing for the same reason you're doing it, and all kind of pushing each other on.
Yeah, and that was really nice actually. So like a group of us went out a week earlier than we had the Zwift house. So we kind of had even more time together. And it's just nice it's kind of like people that all have the same ambition and the same kind of mindset, but also have like different backgrounds, different jobs they're doing. Some of them got families, some of them don't. So it just worked really well. I think that was probably the thing I was most nervous about getting onto the academy, is to, will I get on with the other people? Is it going to be really annoying when we're in Kona, like having to, because I'm generally someone that I like having my own space, especially in that lead up to a race.
Yeah.
I don't like, and I can't deal with people that get really nervous. Like it just really annoys me. So I was slightly worried about that, but it was a really, really lovely group. And it was great to see like all the ladies especially just do so well. Like we had the ladies I think did a bit better than the men, but
they had some amazing performances, didn't they? And for anyone who hasn't seen this, get onto YouTube and check out the videos that the Zwift Tri Academy made of this, because it's really well made little film about you all, and I think it kind of goes beyond just covering the race. There's some real drama going on behind the scenes, and they tell that story really well, I think.
Yeah. That's good.
Well, let me ask you this. I've seen pictures of you riding on the Queen K. You look like a little bullet on that bike. Have you been and seen Matt Botterill for Bike Fit by any chance?
I have, yeah.
I thought so. You've got a little body arm position going on.
So, I mean, obviously, like we had the wind tunnel stuff at Specialized, but because they had to build our bikes after that, so there's a bit of a mix up with the painters. It meant that we weren't the bikes weren't basically set up as dialed into those positions that we had. And then obviously because Will has been working with Botty, he was like, maybe, he was like, you should probably go see him. I went to see him and it was great. Like I think I'm quite lucky in that I think it's quite easy for me to get aero because I'm quite small. And I I think what Will was saying on the podcast about he never really has felt that comfortable on the TT bike. I'm the opposite. Like, I feel way more comfortable on my TT bike than my road bike.
Yeah.
My TT bike's been away being resprayed for the past month. So I've had to do a lot of miles on my road bike and I haven't really enjoyed it very much. I can't wait to get back on my TT bike. But yeah, no, like he made like a few adjustments. I kind of got his custom little arm pads and which, yeah, definitely made it a lot more comfortable. So that was really good, actually. And I'm actually getting to go to the Boardman Wind Tunnel next week. So that'll be interesting to see if there's kind of, I guess, like anything further that they can do to optimize it. Kind of now I've been riding that position for, I guess, almost a year now, really. Yeah. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that as well.
All right, then. So having won World Championships as an age grouper, the next step is obviously in the question on everyone's lips: are you going to turn pro? What happens next? And you've made that decision. You're going for it. You've stepped back from full-time work, and are you on a bit of a sabbatical from work? Is that the deal?
I've actually gone down to 1 day a week.
Okay.
I've managed to wangle myself basically a job that I quite wanted to do. So I'm sort of helping lead on inclusion and diversity in the division that I was in. Because I sort of said, I think I can do that on 1 day a week, but it's also an area that would benefit from having someone kind of on it full time, as opposed to everyone doing it just alongside. So yes, I'm still doing 1 day a week, mainly because I'd quite like to keep a little bit of income coming in, and also have the flexibility of if I get injured or if I'm just not enjoying the pro lifestyle that much, of being able to ramp the work back up a little bit.
Yeah.
I generally work better under pressure, so the thought of having too much free time was also quite scary. So I've gone down to 1 day a week. As you said, I have gone pro. I went and did my first pro race out in Australia. In Western Australia.
I was reading about that. How you had you had a bit of bad luck out there, didn't you? To say the least.
Well,
was it double puncture?
There was also a bit of lack of, I guess, some silly mistakes on my behalf as well, which probably helped contribute towards the double puncture. So I put the wrong tyre on my disc wheel. I tried to put a 28mm tyre on, which it doesn't have enough clearance for with the fuel cell, which I didn't realise until race day because I hadn't been training on it out there with the fuel cell on. So I tried to come out of T1 and my back wheel was just jammed, which was embarrassing. So I came out onto the corner where basically like all the crowd is. And I was already a bit embarrassed because I was second from last out the swim. I don't actually know what happened on the swim because I had been swimming quite well and I should have been able to keep with the kind of main pack of girls, but for whatever reason, I lost them. I lost the feet, and I spent pretty much the whole swim on my own, which was pretty demoralizing.
Yeah, I bet.
So I was already in a bit of a, oh God, this has not started the way that I wanted it to. And then, I came out of T1, couldn't get my wheel moving, had to let a load of air out, and then it was still kind of rubbing. And so, I spent probably like the first 50k of the bike with this wheel rubbing and just generally not feeling great. And then it clearly like let out enough air to not be rubbing. So then I kind of got into it and I was catching a few of the girls, and it's quite a good course. It's got loads of like little out and backs, so you can see really clearly like where everyone is and how everyone's doing. So I could see that I was catching people. And then with 30k to go, my back wheel just punctured. So I managed to kind of put some more gas in it. So I was a bit like, I'm not going to try and change it with only 30k to go. Like I'm pretty sure with gas in, it should get me through that loss. And like there was no obvious like big puncture. I think it just kind of lost its seal because I was running them tubeless. So I think let out enough air. So I kind of pumped it back up and it's all fine. And then with 15k to go, it went again. And obviously I then had no gas left. So I had to roll it back in for the last 15k on my rim.
Not ideal, is it?
And that was like the really nice speedy bit of the course. So I lost so much time and also nearly wiped out quite a few times because obviously if you're trying to go round any kind of corner on your rim,
So don't buy a used disc wheel from Ruth Purbrook. That's what we're learning here, isn't it?
pretty much. / don't trust me with any of your bike mechanics. And then like got out on the run actually. And by this point I was like, obviously like the race has not gone to plan. I'm miles behind, but I knew I was in quite good running shape. So I was like, let's just see what happens on the run, try get a run PB. First 2 laps, amazing. And then the third lap, like that slight knee niggle that I'd had in Kona, it just massively flared up. And like, again, I just felt like my knee was going to collapse. I kind of stopped. I sort of walked a bit. I thought I was going to have to pull out. And I was like, I really, really don't want to have to pull out my first pro race. Like that just, like I wouldn't really want to have to pull out of any race, but especially not my first pro one. So I managed to kind of just about get jogging and moving again. But the final couple of laps was just like, trying to keep moving so that it didn't take me like 4 hours to get around. So I'd say like all in all, I was actually quite happy, A, with finishing, and B, with making it just about into the prize money, considering everything that happened. And I was also like, well, surely it can only go up from here. So hopefully that will be most of my silly mistakes out of the way, and I can kind of concentrate on actually just racing as opposed to trying to sort out
wrangling the equipment.
And
bless you. So what's the race plan for the rest of the year then? Where are you heading to next?
So I'm going to kick off my season with Ironman South Africa.
Okay.
Why not start with a big one? Basically because I was like, if I want to try and I want to try and get to Kona this year as a pro. I feel like obviously it's a bit of a challenge with the new, with the qualifying now. But I was like, you know what, I'm going to aim for it because I might get lucky. So South Africa is going to be more about experience and kind of taking part in a championship race so that if I get to Kona, I've kind of been in a bit of a bigger race. So it's not quite as terrifying.
Yeah.
We'll do South Africa. Then I'm going to do Challenge Gran Canaria because I want to qualify for the Challenge Champs, given that all the top people are going to be doing Collins Cup. Should make the Challenge Champs quite interesting.
Yeah.
And they're still paying the same prize money, it looks like. So
could be in the cash, hey?
Well, that'd be nice. But anyway, I've got to qualify first.
Yeah.
So but if not, I was like, actually, I'd really like to just be out there for that weekend to watch the Collins Cup anyway.
Yeah, it looks really like it's going to be great, isn't it?
Yeah, should be good. So do that hopefully, and then probably Ironman Cork to try and qualify for Kona.
Nice stuff. All right, and then so the difference for you between being potentially one of the best supported athletes in the world on the Zwift Tri Academy last year as an age grouper to going racing pro this year, you're obviously down to 1 day a week and your income's dropped right down. How difficult has it been? Give us an insight into how it is trying to find sponsors and getting people to sort of either give you kit and stuff or even pay you to do the sport that you love.
Yeah, so I think, again, it's a common theme, isn't it? Like, it's really tough. But I knew it was going to be. I had no false illusions that I was going to just waltz into some nice contracts with sponsors. I've not really. I think it might have been different had I had an amazing race in Australia, but I've not really been able to prove what I can do on the pro circuit. So from their point of view, why would they want to sponsor me so far? But I've been lucky in that some of the. So I've got like a few people that I've worked with before that are still going to support me. So Precision Hydration.
Nice.
I've been working with them for like the last sort of 4, like basically, just before I joined Free Speed actually. So like 4 or 5 years I've been sort of supported by them, which is great. And I think again, I think they're a key part to my success in Kona. So to be able to kind of continue that relationship is really nice. Orca, who I worked with on Free Speed, are going to do my kit and my swim stuff. So that's really good. Again, it's like stuff that I know is fast and it works for me. So that's quite important. And then I'm working with KOM Fuel on my nutrition, which mainly because I think it's a really good concept. So it's kind of slightly, you can basically personalize your nutrition on a sort of weekly, bi-weekly or monthly basis, and they'll package it up into like postbox size parcels that will come through your door. But it's basically, you have access to all the different brands. You could so rather than you going out and paying lots of money to buy like individual gels, you can like mix it up quite nicely and pay, like a more normal price for it, because they've obviously gone and bought it all in bulk.
Clever.
Yeah, so I was like, I think it's a really good idea. And I like having a bit of flexibility with, there's like different bits of nutrition that I like from different people. So but that works quite well for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're the main ones. And then, I've been trying quite hard to try and get a bike sponsor, or, well, more actually someone that can just support with bike components and mechanics, because I love the Shiv and I want to keep riding it. I
was going to say, do you get to keep the stuff from the Zwift Tri Academy?
Yes.
Nice.
So that has been a big plus. But yeah, I haven't been successful in finding any bike support. But yeah,
so
other than that,
anyone out there that's listening who wants to support Ruth with your bike bits, get on it. Get in while she's still not a famous pro yet.
Yeah.
There's a gap in the market there for somebody, Ruth, I tell you.
Well, we'll see. I've got to go and prove that I can actually ride it properly now.
You've got nothing to prove, mate. I haven't won the World Age Group Championships. It's well, I was going to say, you must get through a ton of precision hydration with the amount of indoor training you've done over the years.
So much, yeah. There is a lot of sweat that comes out.
Are you like me? Are you quite crampy? If you don't take it, do you get quite crampy?
Yeah, big time. And I'm that classic. I won't necessarily get the cramp that day. It'll be the next day when I'm swimming and I push off the wall.
Yeah. Or in bed at night when you just roll over and your calf suddenly goes.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like for me, it's been like a bit of a game changer actually, using precision hydration. But I think, I knew I wasn't really going to get many sponsors this year, and I knew that sort of money wise, I saved up so that I can kind of basically support myself through this year. I went in under no illusion that I was suddenly going to find someone who was going to pay me money to go and do what I love. So I think as long as you're prepared for it, it's fine. But yeah, hopefully I can sort of get some half decent results and try and get some better support for next year. But if not, as long as I keep enjoying it, I'm sure I can find ways of managing to live.
And what's the big dream? Let's close on this then. How good do you think you can get when you lie in bed at night and you're projecting into the future? What's the big dream for you eventually in pro triathlon?
So I think there's a couple of sides to it. I think the first dream is that I can actually just be a triathlete and be making a comfortable living from it. So I can sort of fully concentrate on it. Although saying that, will I ever be happy just doing sport? I think I'm always going to want something that keeps my brain engaged. So, but I'd like to be in a position where if I wanted to, I could be completely full time and support myself properly. And I don't know, how good do I think I can get? I mean, I don't think I'd be pursuing a career in it if I didn't think I could be competitive at Kona. Because for me, it's I don't really know why you'd bother. I like winning. I like doing well. If I thought I was just going to be average, I wouldn't have tried to go pro. So
is it the competition aspect? Is it the idea of racing? Because obviously you were pretty much at the front of the race on your own. Are you looking forward to that kind of racing people more aspect?
I think in some ways, although actually, I was always around men, so it wasn't as if I ever really felt like I was on my own. It's more just seeing how much better I can get. It's way more the kind of competition with myself, or just the can I keep improving? Because I think even if I can just keep improving to the same level that I've improved the last couple of years, then it's I think that puts me in a good position to be quite competitive at Kona. But yeah, I mean, obviously I'd like to think I can be at a point where I'm actually competing against some of those top pros. But yeah, I mean, that obviously feels like a long way off, but that's the dream, to be at a point where, a top 5 Kona finish is realistic.
Fantastic. All right. Well, listen, thank you very much for taking the time to come on the show and talk to us today. It's been great hearing about this next chapter of your journey. I'm really looking forward to seeing how you get on at South Africa and ideally winning some big cash at Samarin this year. So yeah, great stuff. Congratulations on everything that's happened so far. And we look forward to hearing more from you in the future, Ruth.
Great. Thanks very much. Good to chat.
Awesome stuff there from Ruth. I'm really looking forward to seeing how she's going to go in her races this year when she works out those mechanical challenges and can actually get out there and deliver the performance that we know that she's capable of. What a nightmare riding all of Western Australia with your tyre rubbing against your frame, and the only way you can get through it is by letting the tyre down, and it's less than ideal for her. So good luck to you, Ruth. I'm really rooting for you. I think you're one of the most exciting prospects for the female pro side this year. And I really think we can have you in the top 5 overall in Kona in the next couple of years. So good on you, mate, and enjoy that extra rest and that extra sleep. Okay, you will have heard Ruth talking there about the importance of her using precision hydration in her indoor training. And if you're doing lots of indoor training, either on the turbo or on the treadmill, lots of us are this time of year in winter, keeping your electrolytes balanced and replacing those electrolytes that you lose in sweat are really, really important. And precision hydration, I think, is the best solution out there. They've got electrolyte salts in different strengths, so anything from 250 milligrams all the way through to 1500 milligrams. If you're not sure what kind of concentration of sweat you've got, they've got a simple online sweat test at precisionhydration.com. You just answer some questions and it can give you a really good lead. It's really simple and just a few tick boxes to answer. From my personal point of view, I got cramps today on the turbo. I was riding there and I just thought, I'm just going to jump on for 45 minutes and do a quick session. Didn't put any pH in the bottle and I got calf cramps 30 minutes in. So for me, I need the 1500 every single session. You're probably sick of listening to me say I didn't have pH in my bottle. I just need to get my act together. So if you're suffering from cramps, precision hydration is really going to help you. But more than that, it's going to help balance those essential electrolytes in your body. And if we're doing a lot of indoor training or we're training outdoors in the heat, you might be going away for an outdoor training camp, it's super important to keep those levels correct for the way your muscles fire. Okay, so if you've not tried it before, you can get 15% off your first order at precisionhydration.com using the code OxygenAddict15. All right, guys, that's pretty much everything from us for this week. One last thing to mention is Wednesday evening of this week. So if you've downloaded this on the first day it's out, it's going to be Wednesday the 29th. I'm going to be leading a ride on Zwift for Tri 24/7. They have a weekly ride on Zwift at 7 p.m. Head over to tri247.com and the article's there on the main page. Click on it and it'll give you all the details about how to meet up with us. A group ride. It's going to be led by me. We're going to be doing one of my sessions from our Winter FTP builder. So you get to try it in the flesh with a group of other maniacs from Team OA. It's going to be super fun. And I encourage you to come and join us. So 7 p.m. UK time at Wednesday, the 29th of January. Give that a go. If you've downloaded it a bit late in the week, then unfortunately you'll have missed this one. And other than that, guys, thanks very much for listening. To wrap it up, here's a recap of some great discounts and deals for you. Precision Hydration, you get 15% off your first order with the code OxygenAddict15. At Tribe, you can use the code OxygenAddict20 at checkout to get 6 bars for £2. At Thriver.co, you can get a home blood test kit with 50% off your first test using the code OxygenAddict50. And if you're looking for triathlon coaching, get your first month of coaching for just £1 until the end of January at team.oxygenaddict.com. Remember, there's links in the show notes for all of these sponsors so you don't have to remember them. So until next week, everybody, have a great, safe training and racing week. I'm Coach Rob Wilby, and you've been listening to the Oxygen Addict Triathlon Podcast. See ya.